Welcome back to the Tax of the Trav YouTube channel, guys. So we got two things going on here today. This is the swag giveaway edition along with the tournament edition. So I have a tournament this weekend in Sheridan, Wyoming, of all places. It's a good tournament, good turnout. I'm going to be playing the under 1800 section. I plan to win it with mostly playing tactics and crazy puzzling chess like you see we do with all the puzzles we practice. So the other thing is, if you like and subscribe and comment in this video, you're going to be in a drawing for the Rook hat giveaway. So that's a beanie with a Rook knitted logo on it. So I got it from USCF. It's brand new. It's like $15, but you'll be entered in a drawing for that. So in this puzzle, guys, we're playing black played H6. So let's do material count first before we dive deep into this. We have 4 pawns, black has 5. I have a queen, a rook, a knight, and a bishop. Black has a queen, rook, and a knight. So we're up a bishop, but they have an extra pawn. So we have a bishop for a pawn. So we're up material. Let's dive deep into this now. So I suppose black moved h6 to create luft or an escape square for themselves on h7, just because they don't want to get back ranked. But let's say that they didn't play that and rook were to take on c7. We still wouldn't be able to go queen to e8 check because, well, yeah, we could. Knight takes e8, rook takes e8. So it would be a back rank if they didn't move h6. So more of just a defensive move on black's part, good move. But let's see what else is going on here. So the queen is attacking our knight on a2, which is just very out of position. So chess principles go like in regards to knights. You want to have your knights in the center of the board. That's when they're the most optimal. A knight on the rim is grim. So if you go knight to c3, we can get our knight back in the game, and it's protected by our queen on e3. It seems like a good positional, safe move to play, knight to c3. But let's see if we can get more out of this. I think it's Lasker that says, once you see a good move, look to see if you can find a better one. But if we were to go knight to c3, is there more to it than just getting our knight back in the game and off the rim? Potentially. Because if knight c3, one follow-up I'm looking at, if it were white's move again, would be rook to b1, which almost traps black's queen. Because now we take the entire b file, and queen can't take the knight still because our queen defends it back on e3. And so he would have to go queen to a3 so that he doesn't lose his queen. So that is a nice little trap potentially, but it's not quite trapped. So I'm not sure if there's much there, if that's enough to justify knight c3, because otherwise it looks kind of slow. Like knight c3, it's just a good positional move. I wouldn't say that there's any fireworks there. So, but it does just look like a solid move. Sometimes you just need to play solid positional chess, guys. It's not always going to be fireworks like we want. We all want to be like tall, but sometimes you got to be more like Trojan, somebody like that. Somebody that's very positional. Karpov, that's a good one. Very positional. So let's see. Let's see if there's anything else here. So our bishop is being attacked and our knight's being attacked. So another way to look at this is there one way you can defend? You can move one piece to defend the other. So bishop, maybe trying to save our bishop with bishop to e5, attacking the queen, but then his queen would just take on a2. But maybe we let that happen so that we can play rook a1, just playing with ideas here. So bishop to e5, queen takes a2, rook to a1 with a potential queen trap idea, but then the queen could just go to b3 what follow-up do we have if he just goes b3? So when our bishop moved to e5, it was also attacking the knight. That wasn't primarily what I was looking at, but I'm almost wondering if going bishop e5, queen takes a2. What if we don't go rook a1? What if it's bishop takes f6? I'm just curious to see if there's anything here. Bishop takes f6. And it does destroy the pawn structure, but is that enough? Bishop takes f6, g takes f6. It's not like we can back rank them. And now we just created another left escape square for black. Huh. Interesting. Moving the knight to c3 would probably be met with rook takes c7. Let's try this line out. Knight to c3, rook takes c7. Oh, maybe this is it, guys. Maybe it is knight c3, because if rook takes c7, rook to b1, right? So we're threatening the queen trap, and he has to go to a3, because we're taking the entire b file. Our knight's protected on c3. He can't go queen a2 because our knight defends that square as well. So after queen to a3, and his rook is off the back rank now, guys, off the 8th rank. So then maybe we swing down to b8 with check and kind of revisit the attack on the king again. So if that happens, then king to h7, and now I'm trying to get crafty here. Trying to get crafty. I'm looking at like queen to f4. Queen to f4, queen to g6 is a follow-up to that, because that attacks black's rook on c7, but there's a more sinister plan behind that. I'm looking at maybe following that up with queen to f5 check if I went to f4, let's say. So what that could do is maybe blunt out that pawn, the g7 pawn, because he's going to want to block. He's going to have to block the check on f5, and then I can take the knight on f6. So essentially, from a positional standpoint, what's interesting about this is the black queen is completely out of position after we play knight c3, rook takes c7, rook b1, queen a3, rook b8 check, king h7, queen to f4, completely out of position. He could take back, because now we release defense of our knight on c3. If we go queen f4, which attacks his rook on c7, he could just take queen takes c3, but I don't know if it's enough, because now maybe we go queen to f5 check. Oh, it is enough, because I'm talking about taking the knight but the knight is not actually hanging for black, because after he takes back on c3 with his queen, he would defend his rook on f6. So maybe we don't go f4 with the queen, maybe we go g6, and that will maintain defense of the knight on c3, but still attacks the rook on c7. So let's start from the top so you can see what calculation I'm brewing up here. So knight c3, rook takes c7, rook to b1, queen to a3, queen or rook to b8 check, king h7, rook to, or not rook, queen to g3, attacking the rook on c7, adding pressure on the g file. I don't know if that's enough. I'm not feeling like that's enough. I don't think that's a good follow-up. Let's go back a couple steps and see if maybe we don't play rook to b8 check right away, but we kind of keep that in our back pocket, and then see what else we can maybe juggle, knowing that we can always play rook to b8 check. So starting from the top, knight c3, rook takes c7, rook to b1, queen to a3, queen to g6, or queen to g3, excuse me, queen to g3, attacking the rook on c7, and adding pressure on the g file. Now what could the rook do? Rook could go to d7. The knight could go to h5. Kind of like that defense sometimes if I'm on that defensive side. Knight to h5, which defends the g7 pawn, also attacks my queen on g3. But then I can just move my queen up to g4 to counter attack him. Knight c3, rook takes c7. I'm looking at not going rook b1 right away. Although that says intuitively that does look to me as a good move. Knight c3, rook takes c7, rook b1, queen a3, queen to go queen to e5. Queen to e5 because it still maintains defense of our knight on c3, and it attacks the rook on c7. What could he do there? He could just go rook to e7 because it is defended by the queen now on a3. But then we just take, queen takes e7, queen takes e7, rook takes e7. So you can't go rook e7. Knight c3, rook takes c7. Rook b1, queen a3. All right, let's scrap the knight c3 line. Let's go back to the bishop one and just losing our knight and see what that does for us. Bishop to e5, queen takes a2, bishop takes f6, g takes f6, queen to g3 check, king to h7, king to h7. Okay. Now I'm looking at ways to maybe get my queen on f5 with a fork on the king at h7 and the rook back on c8, but then do it in a double attack type manner. So like in that situation, we're just completely scrapping the knight c3 line for now, or at least sidelining it. We're looking at bishop to e5. So bishop to e5, queen takes a2, bishop takes f6, g takes f6, queen to, well, let's just take the pawn on h6, because we do, when he takes back on f6, we can win the pawn on h6. We get a lot of pressure on the king side, and that king is looking very exposed. So then maybe we have ideas of moving a rook to e4 on a rook lift, and then moving it over to g4, which would be checkmate, just because his pawn structure is so screwed up there. So bishop e5, queen takes a2, bishop takes f6, g takes f6, queen takes h6, and black's king is very vulnerable, guys. Very vulnerable. So maybe like that rook lift looks really, really good. I like how positionally he's just kind of clamped. We do get a pawn back too. In that formation where the queen kind of contains the king all by itself is kind of like a mating net. So you just need one piece to help out, to help mate it. And so the best way to do that after queen takes h6 is lifting the rook to e4 and then swinging it over to g4 for checkmate. And black's queen is out of position here, guys, because he just took back, he lost time by taking our knight on a2, which is counterintuitive, isn't it? Like he wins a piece, but he loses the game because his queen is out of the action. So chess is just mind blowing. So I kind of like bishop to e5. This is looking really good. Well, what's nice about bishop to e5 too, guys, is if let's say he doesn't go down that line. Let's say we go bishop to e5, and he's like, no, I see what you're planning. I see what you're brewing up. And instead of going down that path that we just calculated, he tries to pin our bishop to our queen with like rook to e8. It's just a way to not go down that path, right? Well, we also moved our bishop out of danger. So now we can save our knight. Our knight can now go to c3. Because remember, we're basically in a double attack right now. Our bishop on c7 is on pre, and our knight on a2 is on pre. So if we go bishop e5, rook e8, knight c3, he can't take the knight on c3, he can't take my bishop on e5, we save both pieces. So I do really like that bishop e5 move that just kind of came out as what, our second option, but we kind of gave up on it or I gave up on it and I'm coming back to it, but I really like it. I like it from that first continuation of bishop e5, queen takes a2, bishop takes f6, g takes f6, queen takes h6, and black's king is wide open from a positional standpoint. And then we're gonna lift rook e4, or rook e3, or rook e3, with the intention of swinging over to the G file and delivering checkmate. I just don't see how black can defend against that, guys. So I'm gonna go ahead and make the move, bishop to e5. Let's see what chess.com says. Bishop e5. My computer timed out because it's taken 20 minutes so far on this puzzle. Bishop e5, yep, that's it. Queen took on a2. So it was bishop takes e5, or bishop to e5. Queen took on a2, now we know what we're gonna do. We're gonna sack, we're just gonna take the knight on f6. Rip open the king side, leave that pawn structure completely destroyed. G takes back on f6. And now we're gonna take on h6. Yes, that's it. He's pushing the pawn. So now it's c3. We don't care. We're playing for checkmate. Go ahead and try to promote your pawn. We're gonna try to win the game. Now what I'm trying to figure out is the difference between rook e4 and rook e3. Yes, rook e4 can be met with f5, which eliminates us going to rook g4, and it's not forcing enough. You know, we could swing over to h4, but it's just slower. Why not just go rook to e3 and go and swing to g3? Can't stop it. Nothing he can do. Nothing he can do. Cool puzzle. Rook e3, maybe queen d5, rook g3 check. Queen has to intercede on g4, g5. Rook takes g5, f takes g5, queen takes g5, and we're gonna win this game easily. All right, guys, so I think I found the difference between e4 and e3. We're gonna move, and here's the thing too, like let's say he tries to check us on the first rank, rook e3, and like maybe queen to a1 or b1 check. No big deal. We just go to h2. Like let's say he goes queen to b1 check, king h2, rook or queen to b8 check. We block the check and checkmate him at the same time. Well, no, he would have to sack the queen, but we'd go rook to g3 check. Queen would have to sack on g3. We take f takes g3. Then he's gonna go c2, and we'll just stop the pawn. We'll stop the pawn with queen to c1 and just stop it if we have to. All right, guys, that's it. I'm gonna go rook to e3. Yep, that's it. And he goes queen to b1. Remember that calculation we just did? Queen to b1 with the intention of going queen to b8 check, I guarantee it. Now we're gonna go king to h2. Yep. Oh, he went here. I stand corrected. He goes to g6. Well, we're just gonna pin the queen now. So we'll go rook to g3, pinning the queen to the king. That's it.
Fantastic.
That's a 2244 rated problem, guys, with a 56.3% pass rate. Got 7 points on that, even though I took 24 minutes. Anyway, guys, that's a great puzzle for a lot of reasons, a lot of twists and turns, a lot of things you should have learned there. But going back to the drawing, make sure you like and subscribe to my channel, and we're gonna do these giveaways every Friday. So it's gonna be sometimes smaller items like this, sometimes they're bigger items. So make sure to like, subscribe, and comment on tactics, something that you liked in this video to help out other players. All right, have a great day. See you on the next one.